I am Jeff Foxworthy, and welcome to Gamekeeper Podcast. If you want to learn more about farming for wildlife and habitat management, then, buddy, you are in the right place. Join the Gamekeeper crew direct from Mossy Oak Land Enhancement Studio as they discuss the latest wildlife and habitat management practices, news, and, of course, hunting. There's no telling what you'll learn, but I'm going to tell you, I bet it's interesting. Enjoy.
We're live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, everybody, listen up. Here we are, West Point, Mississippi. We got a good topic today.
Yeah, we're talking about wildlife
and
habitat.
Creating
right?
openings.
That's right.
Gamekeeping.
This is important stuff.
Yes, it is.
Because a guy can look at his map and say, boy, I'd love to have a field right here. And
Well, there's an old saying that nothing good happens till sunlight hits the ground.
That's exactly right.
In habitat.
And the more and more we learn, the more and more
Who said that saying?
I don't know, but I've heard it a long time ago.
Oh, in most of these places,
You trying to say
managers
you said
pick.
it?
No, I'm not.
I'm not talking.
we hear it a lot. So, look, let me get everybody introduced. We got Toxie. You've been gone for a few episodes.
I haven't been gone. I've been right around, but it's just been one of those weeks.
Yeah, one of those weeks.
One of those days all week long.
Lanny's sitting here, looks excited. You got a happy expression on your face, Lanny. We're
I
glad-
realized that I'm not going to get a word in on this conversation. So I did just try to say something, and I realized
say
kind of
it.
set the pace.
Set the pace.
So I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, Dudley's here.
No, I was just going to echo what Toxie was saying about the more we learn about habitat management, it is all about sunlight hitting the ground and early successional habitat and knocking that stuff back so we can have more good wildlife forages. And that's all I'll say. Y'all can take the rest of the podcast on that.
Dudley, you're here. You look caffeinated and you look ready to roll.
Well, yeah, it's Friday. I'm going to be gamekeeping all weekend.
There you go.
So on the couch, we've got Mr. Greg Brigg, whose nickname is the Hammer. And then through the magic of the internet, we've got Mr. Ed Hammersmith,
Ironically.
What a coinky dink.
who's
Double hammerheads.
the veil
Hammer
guy.
and hammer.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by hammers. And look, have y'all ever heard that saying that if you have a hammer in your hand, every problem looks like a nail?
No, actually.
I have never heard that, but that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I might use it.
Yeah.
Well, it really is just it's a well-known little metaphor that's out there. I thought you guys would.
So well known, none of us had ever heard of it.
I've seen a lot of nails this past week. I've had a lot of problems.
Well, Ed, we're glad you're here. You've got a lot of expertise in the subject matter we'll be talking about, so we appreciate you joining us. And look, guys, I'd like just right off set the stage. You know, when you're managing your property, I've got a quote here. I love Aldo Leopold. And he said this. Aldo is such an interesting guy. The outstanding scientific discovery of the 20th century is not TV or radio, but rather the complexity of the land.
Hey, it's a lot of application today with that.
How about that?
That one for sure.
Yeah.
Instead of radio and TV, it might be like your phone. And Bob, you spend a lot of time on TikTok, don't you?
I don't spend any time on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Never have spent any time on TikTok. All right, so that was
That's deep, actually, a lot deeper than
It
those
is.
words.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We may never discover the depth of complexity there, no matter what we get into AI's new
No, the sense of
explosion
wonderment.
on the
like we're
world.
talking about.
Yeah, just
that
the
wonderment.
complexity is. I don't know. The longer we get, you dig in deeper to cells and what comprises them, what comprises them. It's just, I think it's endless. Well, I don't know. Maybe someday we'll get to the bottom of it, but I doubt it.
I doubt
honestly.
it.
I doubt it.
I hope not.
I'm just going to keep trying to put more sunlight on the ground.
There you go.
All right, so let's start there, guys. So, you know, if you've got a property, I mean, everybody at some point says, boy, I wish I had a field or a food plot over here, but it's solid woods. And Greg, yeah, you see it all the time. People probably contact you and go, what's the first and easiest step that comes to your mind when you're trying to think of that, of solving that problem?
Well, to solve that problem, I mean, when you got, full-blown timber, big timber and all, it's really not feasible to go in and merchandise the timber, cut out a spot or whatever. I've seen, experience through the past years and with these products such as our Veil brush cutter, you can go in there and you're going to have small stuff scattered throughout undergrowth. You go in there and open that up, and everybody that I've ever done this for, and there's a lot of people, they come back after I'm done, they're like, oh my gosh. And not only is it pretty, you know, a beautiful aspect of the land or the timber or whatever, but it creates that opening, and like we said, get the sunlight to the ground, you know, not totally, but you have none with the undergrowth. And that's the first step. Go in there and get that cut out. Then, you know, and once you get it cut out, you can tell more about what you got. As far as your timber, you might have a lot of old trees in there not worth anything. You can go in, cut those out, and even make it even better, you know. But the first steps to get that undergrowth gone.
Yeah. So Ed, this is probably a problem you encounter all the time. And correct me if I'm wrong, you've recently, in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, purchased at least a couple of places and improved them yourself, hadn't you?
We've known each other longer than we care to remember, I guess. But yeah, gosh, it was. Well, I bought my farm in 2014. In fact, August 6th was when I closed on it. And you guys, about 7 years ago, you guys sent a film crew out, and we did a little documentary on the story behind the Vale X series. And it was kind of about, I don't know, for me, it's more about me and my family and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been tinkering on that farm now for about almost 11 years, I guess. So yeah, it's changed quite a bit, even since that little video you guys shot for us. I think we called it For the Love of the Land. But yeah, I've learned a lot, and you know, leaned on Dudley a little bit on identifying trees and putting in new trees and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a labor of love. I think that's what they call it.
100%, but a labor of love that gets a lot better when you got the right equipment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Amen.
Yeah, if you don't have
if
equipment,
you don't have the right equipment, it's a lot more labor than loving. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. What is the right equipment? What are we talking about to go in here and do this? Toxie, what's your experience?
Well, I've used to look where I already had openings, and sometimes I've learned that some of those openings were there because the soils and the conditions weren't that great anyway. And so as we've learned so much from trial and error for many, many years, and then listening to people that really know things, and then trying things out, listening to people that, you know, I just kind of look at everything from a broader perspective of diversity, like we talked about. It's just got to be. And the value of allowing native plants and, I guess, ecology take hold as opposed to trying to, you know, Greg knows, it's so labor intensive to go in, stump it all out, make a food plot. Well, those are essential. But honestly, they aren't the backbone and shouldn't be the backbone if you have everything else right and you have that diversity, especially, and I know we keep using early successional, but, you know, there are a lot of different varieties and versions and stages of early successional. Like early successional just in the first year or two. Could be the most valuable from a browse standpoint. And anyway, getting that right is actually job one. And, you know, honestly, even though it costs a little bit to get someone to do it, unless you have the equipment yourself, then it's not that expensive at all. Going in and reducing that, I mean, it's almost like a better way than fire to a degree in some areas. You can take small areas and you can look at like, or is a place going to respond to that or not? I mean, you would know ahead of time. And, you know, I had never thought about till now, Dudley. It might be smart to take a couple of soil tests and see what you're dealing with because you can look at the native plants that are there and you might think you have an idea what might happen, but you never know. And so, you know, you could take in and just do spots here, acre two, move on over here, acre two, and be sure there's something with fresh growing 1, 2, 3, 4-year-old browse kind of scattered everywhere on your place. It just makes a lot more sense, especially if you get something that's native and it can withstand the browse too. You know, and then you couple that with your food plots, you've really got magic sauce. Yeah. If that makes sense. I go back to all that yakking I just did. Diversity is kind of the prism I look through more than anything now. And you pretty much have to have one of these to do that.
Yeah.
So Ed, what is the one piece of equipment that can help get all this done? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I've heard you from time to time talk about how diverse and versatile front end. What do they call it, Laney? Skidders?
Skid steers.
Skid steers are.
Compact track loaders, skid steers, CTLs is what we refer to them as.
That's the pro term.
Is that right?
That's right.
There you go. Yeah. Compact track loaders. Skid steers have wheels. Track loaders are on tracks. That's the only difference. But yeah. So your question is, what makes them important?
Well, what's the one piece? Well, let's start with what's the one piece of equipment that could get the most done for a guy if he's gonna buy a piece, or he's gonna a piece of equipment, or if he's gonna rent one somewhere. What does he need to ask for?
Right. Well, compact track loaders put less ground pressure, so your tracks and stuff, wheels tend to sink. So I'm more on the side of compact track equipment. If you want to avoid, gosh, got a frog in my throat. If you want to avoid depth fluid and stuff like that, I think you got to stay in that under 75 horsepower class. They're a little easier to move around if you're going to throw them on a trailer and move them from, farm to farm or something like that. If you have a bigger piece of property, you have one piece of property, then I say go big. Get up in that 100 horsepower class, and for me, time is essential. Time is money. So, I want the biggest, the baddest piece of equipment I can get. I want to do it as fast as I can, and I want to run the biggest attachments I can run, just because I don't have a lot of time. So that's kind of the long answer. Short answer, if you're just getting started, try to get something. It's a little less expensive to run, like a 75 horsepower machine. You can start out with, one of our higher end mowers that'll just, we can cut down, 8-10 inch trees. I don't know what Greg's been killing down there, but those machines will do quite a bit of work. And then you graduate up into the bigger stuff. At 100 horsepower and up, then we get into disc mulchers, which are hyper fast, and you can clear a lot of ground really fast with those. So I don't know. It really depends. I enjoy talking to people, just trying to figure out, what's your goals? What are you trying to do with it? Because not everybody's goals are mine. They're not the same. And a guy in Oklahoma is going to be different from a guy in Minnesota, and he's going to be different from a guy in Mississippi. Everybody has different needs and uses for it, but I don't know if I'd like to piggyback off what Toxie said. Versatility is great. There are so many things you can do before you start. Soil samples. I mean, if you're a deer hunter like me, I look for my stand trees too, and how I can shape a plot. I look for wind directions. You can make it as complex as you want. And, if you ask somebody who's never done it, who's never gone out there and try to create your food plots, I mean, you can go even into your turkey hunting. I have lanes and stuff where my driving and stuff where I put cameras on and watch the turkeys go up and down lanes, and then figure out, which cedar trees I want to leave, some of the things I want to take out, create shooting lanes and openings for places that I know turkeys, you can get as complex as you want. But gosh, you can, I look at stand trees, soil samples, getting that sunlight to the ground, all those things matter, and the more you do to it, the better it gets, and the better the hunting gets. Some of the guys that come down to my place, they call it Shangri-La, because sometimes it seems too easy, and there's too many animals for them. But
man, we're gonna have to check that place out. I'm interested in Shangri-La.
Yeah,
Bobby's great. Bobby's great at that on turkeys. He can help you with
He's
that
professional turkey manager.
I've invited him up to come give it his best shot.
Ooh,
That's
look at that. That's a
And-
challenge.
and I haven't
I've had some
taken-
pretty good hunters and throw their hands up and say, you might have the toughest birds in the world to hunt. So,
Yeah, he doesn't like tough ones.
No, he don't
wants
want-
to
he's
go-
out.
He wants
Like,
them
you scared
easy.
him off.
yeah, he wants them easy.
So I've just been so busy. We've got so much work to do around here. Ed.
Oh,
I hadn't had a
whatever.
chance
Yeah.
to come up there. So.
yeah.
But back
No,
to
I
the
mean,
yeah.
it's fun. It's fun to work on a property, and I think that's the thing that drew me to it most. And I think if you went back and watched that video you guys did like 7 years ago, I think you'll find out that the love for getting on the property and doing the work yourself is so satisfying and so rewarding. And I guess maybe it isn't for some people, but for people like me, I got addicted to it. I thoroughly loved learning how to identify trees, the understory species, what were good browse, what was good, what was the best environment for poults and stuff like that. I loved learning that stuff. That was just, incredibly rewarding to me, just as an outdoor person and stuff like that. And that's what connected me most to the outdoor world, and kind of spreading our brand. And we just targeted the outdoor world because it was more like us.
So, Greg, you've ridden behind one of these things and cut a lot of ground. What's your favorite? What's your first piece of equipment you want to go to try to clean up a place? Is it a cutter or a mulcher or what is it?
Well, I have never had the opportunity to run like a drum mulcher. To me, and of course the disc mulcher, it has. I've never actually seen one of those. I've seen the drum mulchers work, but we've always gone with the brush cutter head, and it doesn't fine chip everything, but it does a great job. You're gonna have debris left on the ground, but within a year's time that's gone. But the applications that we do 99% of the time is not beautifying somebody's front yard. It's doing what we're talking about, making wildlife openings, cutting edges around food plots, cutting them back to, the outreach is grown out into a food plot, knocking all that back, stuff like that. And it's just that brush cutter, and you can move along pretty doggone fast with it too.
A 10-inch tree. That's a pretty good size.
Yeah, I try to stay away from them that big, just for the
It's
cutter.
like anything, the more you beat them up, the worse.
That's right.
Yeah, the cutter will handle it, but
Yeah.
it's slower. You got to take your time, and I just don't. I feel like it's taking a beating on those big trees like that.
But,
now,
I mean-
6 inches and down
Yeah, a 10-inch
Yeah,
tree is a
that's-
big tree. Is that a diameter or circumference?
diameter.
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 And that's a lot of stems.
It is.
That's a
Uh,
lot of stems. That's
You
right.
may, even with that one that you're using, you may leave some 10-inch trees, but you can come back and hack and squirt them or just, later. But you can make a lot of clearing very
Yeah.
quickly.
It'll surprise you to go in a stand of timber and you look at it and it's like, man, this is so thick. It's big stuff. Once you get in there and go to cutting most of it, you might have 3 to 4 inch stuff, a good bit of. Once you get that taken out, it kind of gives you a whole different outlook on it. After that's gone, it's like, wow, it ain't bad as I thought it was.
Those heavy duty brush cutters, the best way I can describe it is it's like an extremely heavy duty brush hog, but there's like an exposed portion up front. And correct me, Ed, but you just start barely touching that tree and it slowly cuts through it, and then you can lift the whole deck up and kind of lay it down on top of that brush, and it
Yeah.
does a pretty good job of breaking it up.
The way I cut bigger trees is I'll raise it up, and a safety feature or fact on these brush cutters, you don't want to raise it up too high where that thing's serious.
Oh yeah.
You're talking about some serious RPMs and stuff slinging. So when you got that thing up in the air, it'll throw stuff 300 feet easy, in a hurry. So I try to keep the back edge of that thing down to where if it does sling something, it's going to hit the ground. It's not going, which we run a Lexan door. You have to on the machine just for that, because you're going to get some every now and then, debris into it. And it sounds like a bomb go off when it hits. So I was like, man, glad it had that Lexan in there.
Yeah.
But I try to keep the tail end of it down where it can't hit the machine. But I'll raise it up as high as I can, and I'll knock the top out. And you can just run into it, just and I mean the top falls out, and then I'll slowly let it down, pretty much like a drum mulcher. You do come down and just chew it all to pieces, and the brush cutter basically does the same thing. If you go slow, it chips it pretty doggone good. You know, if you go fast, it'll knock it in bigger chunks. But that's kind of the way I handle the bigger stuff. And then I'll get on the top, like you said, run over it a couple of times, it's gone.
And one of the main things I love about all of this style of equipment is that you can leave all that organic material on the ground,
Yeah.
on top of your topsoil. Or if you want to scratch it away later, you can do that as well. But oftentimes with heavier equipment, you're going to end up with even if you try hard, you're going to end up with a lot of your topsoil pushed to the side.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
one of the other things, if you have, like in pine stands especially, if you thin once, and especially if you thin twice, in some of the invasive, especially around here sweet gum, but other invasive species have gotten too big for your fire to really kill unless you maybe do it in a warm season burn, which is going to be tough. My point is, then you could go in an area and reduce it down to the ground, and then everything's coming back up from the ground again. That year you burn, you got it back under control, and you're actually bringing stuff to life that's better browse every year. So you could go in, and I've experienced that. I've got places that we missed a year or something happened when I bought it. It was already a little bit out of control, and you've got stuff that the burn's really not getting rid of that you want. You could get it like you want to in a particular area here and there, and then from then on, it'll be much easier to control
it with fire.
So it's not like you're spending all this money all the time. One time really will set you off for years and years.
I would say that's probably one of the more common uses is, something has gotten a little bit out of hand and you need to get some heavy equipment in there to set it back.
And I'm going to tell you another thing in the whole world of, and you hit on it, beautification, and maybe there's a case for the drum style in, like, we're developing our neighborhood or someone's yard and it needs to look a little bit more mulch, but honestly, with the right operator, I'd make a case for this is good or better, honestly. But if you have a place, it's adding value to the place that you just every day you drive in, it looks better and cleaner, on the drive-through or whatever. If you're trying to maximize the value of the place, man, you can, I know Chris Hawley always called it window dressing. It's so important, and it is. Whether you enjoy it or you're showing it to someone, you can really window dress something so well with these. If you just think about that, the value of every time you drive through, you're just prouder of it. It looks pretty. Probably, you're opening some up, you'll probably see more wildlife coming and going. But then especially, if you're adding value to the place, you might contemplate wanting to sell it or whatever. Extremely valuable in having that quote unquote window dressing done.
No doubt.
As you were talking, that's the selling point I've always used with the brush cutter. As you go in versus a dozier, most of your stuff is 3 inches or below in size and undergrowth and stuff. For all the years before we had this technology and this kind of equipment, people go in with a dozier and push around. Little old saplings big as your finger. I mean, it's just a mess with a dozier. And as you hit on, time you get it all pushed off clean, all your topsoil's gone. Then you got a pile over there and it's half dirt or more and a few brush in it. Try to burn that. You wind up with a mess, and then you got a pile there. It's just the edges burn off. Then you got that eyesore sitting there. That's the selling point of these brush cutters, and like our bale cutter. You go in there with it. When you're done, the roots are still in the ground, but you got it manageable now.
Exactly.
And you don't have, when you're done, you're done. You don't have no piles left. You don't have nothing to burn other than the normal burning, And everywhere I've cut with these things, even if you don't burn the year next, you come back a year later, you hardly see any debris.
And what's so cool about all those hardwood stump sprouts is that the deer are just wearing them out the next year because they've got that big root system. The what is Marcus Lashley mineral stumps they call them.
You know, it's amazing how many jobs he's done, and someone's like, "Oh man," you know, people always stress out the best thing about your property is doing all this improvement work, but people stress over every little penny sometimes, and it's amazing how much they're like, "Oh yeah, we got to do this," you know, maybe it was CRP compliance or something. It was just stuff, and you know, yeah, but I mean, I don't know if I can afford more than and they're like, "Y'all did it, Bobby did it, other people." Before you leave, can you do this too? Can you do this too? Oh my gosh. So many jobs, I would say more than anything with any equipment we have. When you say, as far as you went there, kind of did what they wanted, and they say, wait, stick around, I would say from brush cutting probably more.
Well, it's because I'm so good and I did it so fast. See, they're ahead of the game and they just want to do more
kidding,
because
but
they still under the budget, you know.
No,
it's just
he's not kidding.
He is
joking.
not kidding.
No, he's
folks.
not.
No, I'm joking. I'm
No,
joking.
you may be joking, but it's the truth.
I'm just trying to be funny there. But yes,
Yeah, look, you need to leave the
it
funny
always
stuff to us.
it always turns into more, you know. And not only that, the neighbor across the street's been sitting over on his porch drinking
Watching
sweet
it.
tea, and he's like, and then he'll ease over a little bit. Hey,
mean,
you
you
got a
already
couple
here.
hours, you
Yeah.
could come over here and do this, you know, because they see what's happening, they see how good it looks, you know. So it's its own bestseller, really, you know.
So, Ed, you're making a lot of people happy with this equipment.
Well, I'm gonna give you my real quick sales pitch.
Okay.
Safety 101. If you ever see a blade or a tooth, you're at risk. Yeah, that's my pitch all the time. You know, and Greg, you said it right. I mean, that deck should never be flat and eye level. The back of that deck should always be below the glass of the
Right.
door. If it throws it, it's going to hit metal or it's going to go down in the dirt or under your load or whatever. You never want it hitting the glass. You obviously have experienced, like, once in a while you'll hit a rock. I had a rock, it ricocheted off a tree and hit a side window and broke a side window. First time in 10 years I've ever seen it. But it's just a point that, you know, things can bounce off other things and they can hit your glass and stuff like that. But for me, the safety thing is just don't ever see a blade, don't ever see a tooth of a mulcher. At least you know that you're in a pretty good spot and stuff.
Right.
Then I wanted to touch, like, I love listening to you guys. Like, I'd have so much fun playing around on your land and stuff. So there's a couple things we're talking about, mulch, you know, and leaving those wood chips and stuff like that. All those things can be great. It just depends on what you want to do. So I've done test plots on mine. I went in with a drum mulcher and I just chewed it up into little tiny wood chips, you know, did a lot of back dragging and mixing it with dirt and stuff like that. And then beside it, gone in with like the disc mulcher. It leaves debris a little bit bigger, and I don't want to do a lot of dirt management with it. And then drag that debris off with a grapple, plant them both the same day. Which one do you think grew the best? The one that I took all that debris off, it grew phenomenal. The stuff that I left all those wood chips on didn't grow a lick. A few weeds grew in it, but you couldn't get anything to grow in it. This is probably down your avenue.
Yeah,
And
that's all your
I'm
nitrogen.
pretty sure people
getting
told
tied
me
up.
that's the acidic
Right.
that's in that green wood and stuff, that acid. So you can go put a ton of nitrogen on it and you can reduce that and you get stuff to grow in it. But it takes a year for that to break down before you get the value of that compost type thing. It takes at least a year. The second year, like, I went back and planted it this spring, it grew perfect. Clover took off on it. I didn't even have to cultipack it, just broadcast it, and it just took off. You couldn't got it. It wouldn't start last year. It wouldn't do it.
To add to that, Ed, if I jump in there, down here, you know, we're timber country, and I've run into it 1,000 times. People will go in and have their timber cut. Well, they got to have a load landed, you know, the loading ramp, and they'll leave these openings, and most of them are about a half acre to an acre, somewhere in that world. And they'll say it's the opportunity. I can make a food plot right there. And they'll go in there the same thing. You got all that bark and all that stuff on the ground, and you would think, man, this would be great. It won't grow nothing until you take a dozier in there and push all that bark and get back down to the natural soil, and then you're good to go. But I mean, that's a lot of truth to that in the mulch,
Yeah, that's why I love talking to people about before they start. Tell me what you're trying to do, because in some senses, like sweet gums, we have hedged locusts that are so invasive and stuff. When you cut those, we don't want them coming back. So I'll go ahead and I'll use the saw, like our saw on it, and it's got a poly tank in it that I put Tordon in, and I got a spray nozzle on the boom. So cut that tree down, shoot a shot of Tordon out on those outside rings real quick, and that'll kill that stump and it won't come back. And then a year later, I'll come back like with a mulcher or something like that, and I'll shred that tree up and stuff. I'll let it lay there for a year. Again, for my theory is the turkeys love them. At least they do on my property. Those thorny locust and hedge trees, I don't think coyotes and stuff want to go in there very badly. But I don't know how many times I've driven by those in the spring, and the turkeys are nesting in those thickets that I've left, those trees that I've left down. But then I come back, a year after that, and I'll shred those thorny, stupid things up and get rid of them. But what your desire is and how quickly you want to do it, to me, dictates which piece of equipment you use. So I've got a saw that I use for certain applications, get rid of those invasives. I've got, a disc mulcher, a mower, a drum mulcher. It really depends on what you're trying to do. If it's like what Toxie said, if it's a beautification project, like that maybe down my driveway along by the cabin, I'm not going to hunt it. Then I'll use the drum and I'll make it pretty. If it's, I got to get this, I want to clear 2 acres or an acre and I want to do it really quick, I go in with the disc mulcher, blow stuff up as fast as I can, clear it off with the grapple, and I'm ready to plant it, right away, and I can go. It just depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, like I said, I've used every piece of equipment that we've designed is for me. It was for me to use.
So let me ask just real quick. So let's just say you're looking at you've got a little property and you're wanting to lay out a food plot in there, and let's just say the topography will allow you to do whatever you need to do. Do y'all, in your experiences, Josh, I'm really looking at you now. I think you got a lot of credibility here. You've done a lot, but help me. Are you wanting to try to face it north and south, east and west? How do you try to take advantage of the sunshine?
I mean, I've never really stopped to consider it much, and I guess on a very small food plot, I mean, I would yield to Dudley, even though I've probably done a lot more. Doesn't mean I've considered the right things. You're likely going to have most of your sun coming from the south in the winter and stuff, hunting season. So probably be better to have one if it's just a long food plot, go running kind of north and south, If it was running kind of narrow, running east and west, a lot of it, percentage-wise, probably would be kind of shaded more. But, only thing I'd say is look at your area and look at where the sun likely is coming from. One thing I do not understand is, beyond this podcast, is like, I see the sun in different positions at the same time of year. I always had just assumed wrongly, that if the sun is coming up, 10 degrees south of due east, that it would be that in a year from now, but it's not. And so I don't know how to judge that best. But only thing I'd say, trees and even food plot stuff seems to grow better with a really strong eastern exposure. I don't know why. Dudley could maybe guess, or maybe it's just coincidence. And then, look where your sun's coming from. I guess largely you would have a south sunlight to try to work towards. Wouldn't you say, Dudley?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the sun leans to the south every day, and it comes up in the east. West sun is usually pretty harsh, but we use that a lot for planting trees, just because you have to have that, as much sun as possible. Sure. But with food plotting, I would rather just have a little bit of diversity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if you got a square, largely circular, whatever, really, I guess it doesn't matter. It's going to be the same no matter what you do.
Yeah, I would just want to have some east west, some north south.
Yeah. True.
Plus, the free-form plot's better anyway.
Yeah. So is morning sun better than afternoon sun?
I would think for plants that are trying to grow, yes. It doesn't like burn up the soil moisture as much. Mm-hmm. It doesn't heat up the soil as much. You don't get that harsh afternoon sun that you get from the west or even a southwest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Lanny, do you have a question?
No, I did have a question.
No means you have a question.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought about
yes
I had
or no.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, keep up, Lanny.
Yeah, do you own a tractor?
I do, but the only thing I use it for, well, the two things I use it for is I will run a batwing mower to mow my my main trails.
Yeah.
And then if I need a cultipacker, then I put my cultipacker on the back. Other than that, I never use it. I use my compact track loader every single day that I'm on my farm.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about. We, especially in these applications in the South where we're dealing with most of our, leases or land we're on, or either timber leases or things like that. So just thinking about the application of the compact track loader, that's what I was asking for, because it sounds like he's doing, 90% of his work with these compact track loaders. There's just so much you can do, especially in the forestry, I think, the world that we live in.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote that note down to say something, but it's clearly if you had one thing, and again, everybody's budget's different.
Right.
If you just had one thing, especially if you don't have big, large,
right.
5 or 8 or acre, type places.
Big stuff, right.
The skid steer, you call it compact track loader, I guess.
That's
we
what
call it skid steer.
CTL, dog.
Yeah, this is the most it's the most versatile thing on the planet.
It really, and maneuverability in those pine plantations and stuff. It really is. And then y'all were talking about this. You actually just touched on it a little bit. But for if you can't burn, which this spring I couldn't burn where I needed to burn. I mean, you can still set it back. Probably not as well as a burn, but you could sure set it back.
I tell you who is he has a tractor too, but I mean he uses just like you, and 90% of his Kevin Van Dam has got all this, and he uses that big, it must be a 6 or 8 foot tiller.
Yeah,
it's a wider one, but I mean, and then the grapple, and he's got rocks to clean them out. When he makes food plots and stuff, it's crazy. He has the most beautiful food plots of anybody I've seen.
Mm-hmm. So he
does it all with the skid steer.
Oh, is
and
that
their
right?
attachments, such as Vail products.
Yeah,
it's
you can
amazing.
You can get by with them for just about anything. My problem is, from a business standpoint, I can't get them engineered fast enough to cover every single thing I want to do. But like every attachment that we've built, I've tested and I've run on my farm, just because I don't know, it's my connection to the outdoors. There's a lot of guys that use all of our stuff for, they're land managers, they're farmers. Like some people are just out there doing it for a living and stuff. But my connection is it has to be able to help me on my farm to make my farm better for wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And for my hunting experience. Hey, if I can quickly touch too on the food plots. Mm-hmm. Well, on my farm, it was an what I call abused cattle grazed farm and stuff like that. It's got a lot of the invasives. Has a ton of pecan trees and a few oaks, but not a lot. So when I'm designing a food plot, the first thing I'm looking for is deer traffic, areas that they're maybe connected to for food sources or bedding or whatever. Try to figure some of that stuff out. And then it comes down to stand trees or blind locations, areas that I can create narrowings and openings, partial shade. I mean, at least with, your non-typical clover, I found mine in, Missouri grows better if it just gets a little bit of shade, but you get a lot of that morning sunshine on it. And then once it hits midday and afternoon, that shade, that clover will be 8 inches taller than what it is out in the wide open where it just gets cooked and baked. So there's a lot of things about like where to put it. My hunting winds are typically northwest and very little south, my hunting winds. So I got to make sure my plots are in spots where if I'm hunting on the south side of a plot, my scent isn't blowing into a bedding area. So I either eliminate the bedding area and push it out so it's open ground behind it or whatever. So for me, the strategy comes down to, can I get stand trees? Can I get blind locations that'll work? Instead of trying to make the deer do everything I want them to do, manage around kind of what they like or what they've adapted to, and then try to do my plots. And I think I only have one that runs north-south. Almost everything else runs kind of southeast, northwest, kind of at an angle. And I've got a couple squares as well, but there're not a lot of times I can hunt with a south wind on my place just because of the way it lays out and stuff. So to me, not to try to make it complicated, but picking a direction, I personally like the southeast northwest angling. It just seems like it makes it for the best, at least for deer hunting. Turkey hunting doesn't really matter, but the deer hunting, to me, that matters. So
Yeah.
Well, we have such a south wind. We set stands on both ends of the fly.
Well, I do too, but it's really hard to hunt that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to hunt that north side stand.
Yeah.
It gets difficult.
So Dudley, a guy could, if he had a piece of equipment like this and went in and mulched or cut it down and everything, then using some herbicides in conjunction with that in subsequent years, you could get a lot done.
Oh, for sure. Like, so, I got my little dream place last year, and like several of us have already mentioned, it was out of hand by the time I got it. It had been overly thinned. I think it was about 4 years past, an extreme thinning. There's 5 and 6 trunk, 20-foot tall sweet gums everywhere, and scattered pines. All of the perimeter trails had grown up. It needed some more interior trails, and all the log loading decks were just dog hair thick baby trees that were past bush hog. Being able to get them back. I mean, I would have just ruined my tractor doing it. And so
Twisted
I hired
a PTO or two.
Yeah, I mean, I hired a local operator. His name's Chad. He came out there. I paid him for 2 days of work. And he got me back to a point where I can run the show again.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of these areas may have some 2-foot tall stump sprouts that I can go back and spray. The deer are eating a lot of them. But yes, I mean, everything is now manageable by me. And it was I had a smile on my face writing that check.
There you go.
Extreme home makeover. So
Yeah.
extreme
And
property makeover.
I pulled up and saw that, and
Overjoyed.
overjoyed. I don't know if I've seen a thinning job that just made me overjoyed. You see butt scarred trees and this and that. In time, you end up liking it. But this is just super instant gratification.
Yeah.
And I've already budgeted to have it done again at the end of the summer.
There you
Wow.
Well, Dudley,
some other spots.
Your next step is to get your own, because you're going to take that satisfaction to a whole different
I
level.
agree with you. He needs one. I need a good buddy
do
with
it
one.
yourself. Like
Well-
when your boss gives you a little extra time off.
Yeah, I mean, and I would love to do other people's properties. Like I want to be an operator. It's fun.
Greg, you might have somebody filling out an application with you.
It is rewarding while you're doing it and after.
I got
you're
mine
doing
in
it.
first.
I'm getting pretty old, so it might not be far off as you think.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to help a guy out in Idaho. In fact, I don't do it for a living, but he specifically asked for some help, and he's got some connections in WTF, and I think that's a great organization, and
Yes, indeed.
I told him I'd come help him and stuff, and he doesn't know anything about it, and he's not used to it, but I say, hey, I'll bring out a truckload of attachments. I went spend a couple days with him, and it's not my job. I'm not getting paid to do it. I love that part of it. Like, we're gonna transform a property, and it's a big property, but we're gonna start that process where we're gonna use probably 4 different attachments to create, a wildlife. I mean, it'll be phenomenal when we're done with it. But that's the fun part, man. Like I'll take a few days and I'll go out and spend on the job helping his operators, teach them how to do this stuff and have some fun with it. Obviously, I can't do that all the time, but once in a while, it's just a blast to get out there and just.
Hey, it's
mowed
nothing
out
like
a bunch
doing
of
that
trees.
kind of work.
Yeah.
It really is. You
Yeah.
you work all day and then you turn around and you can see what you've done.
Well, I go back, Greg, a moment ago, you kind of hit on it. It seems like every food plot you're ever around, eventually, after a few years, somebody needs to go around the edge of it and limb up some. Everything starts leaning out in the plot.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's reaching for that sunshine.
Yeah.
Everything. You get a road daylighted.
Reaching.
Over years, look what happens. It starts canopying back in. It's reaching for that sun.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dudley, but yeah. Some people, they food plots. We've talked about it before. Having an edge on your food plot. Where the deer can ease up there. They're not walking right out into the wide open.
Yeah.
They can ease up there, feel like they've covered, and still check out the open ground, whatever. But what I'm talking about, limb, tree encroachment stuff, And some people want a clean edge, That's just their preference, It's like, I won't mind where I can see them coming through the woods, They want to be able to see out into
Get
the woods.
ready, man.
But yeah,
Hey, Greg,
I mean,
Greg, have you tried hinge cutting some of those edge trees with that mower?
yes,
It takes a little bit of work, but
yeah,
it's sure better to hinge cut sitting
Yeah.
in the cab of the loader than it is with a chainsaw.
yeah. Of course, you have a product too. Your saw.
Yeah, tree saw.
Yeah, the tree saw. I mean, that
Yeah,
works great to go
that-
around the edges.
Yeah,
It's
that
offset to
Yeah,
one side.
I'll
and,
just go in there and hinge cut and just push them over
right.
towards the timber,
Yeah.
and it just creates kind of a soft edge and,
Right.
and let the edges grow up. I mean, it'll grow up in blackberries and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, to me it makes beautiful areas to hunt in and stuff. So
Right.
How long does the saw reach?
As high as a track loader,
about 14
Yeah.
4 foot.
That's yeah.
14. Yeah.
That's you're gonna. A lot of the stuff that the road's closing back in, we have a huge problem with that.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to do that every year, but
No.
you can't get to all the stuff in a lot of places. So that thing
Right.
is
And I take
invaluable.
another
Well,
point.
about 10 years in for me, and there's some big elms and stuff like that have leaned over, and I just cut the whole tree down at that point. I'm just like, I can't reach it, so it just has to go and allow other ones to take off. So once in a while, like I said, after 10 years, I've had to go in and cut down a few big trees that they want to lean towards the cornfield or whatever, and I'm like, gotta go.
Yeah.
Another point I'd make about sunlight, letting the sunlight in, trimming the roads back and stuff, is your road conditions.
Yes.
That's one of the best things to keep a road in good shape is sunlight, daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And because you go down a road on somebody's farm, I guarantee you, when you get to the first mud hole, it's like a hole there. I guarantee you it's shaded right there. It can't get any sunlight. Because you get that thing opened up, daylighted. You know, you don't want to do your woods roads that way, but as far as your main roads, your accessible roads around your property, then and these attachments, Ed's got these valve, he's got everything to take care of that. You know, and it's easy with the right equipment.
Easy and fun.
Yeah. Well, it's even funner when you get paid to do it.
That's right.
You know, like it could be
Instead
your,
of paying somebody.
it could be your driveway, but you've got it dialed up enough that that's not a problem. And so, just for a beautiful effect, you know, a lot of people love to have like a tunnel effect. It's so beautiful there to drive through, where stuff did grow across, but you got to keep it up a certain height. Well, with the saw, you could keep it out of the way, you know, and create that beautiful tunnel effect going through some woods. You know, and again, you're not going to let daylight hit the ground like Greg says. You wouldn't want to do that everywhere, but in certain places, it's just beautiful to do that. And you really can't reach up quite high enough with the other equipment, but that saw that you get on up there, like you said, up to 14 feet, there's your tunnel. It's really pretty.
And
Yeah, I created one of those. We call it Shady Lane.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's a north-south. It's a north-south trail about 250 yards long, and it goes crosses a creek, goes up a hill, and I have a fruit orchard up there. But that's where we go to take family pictures, because no matter what time of year, it's just kind of a canopy over, and it's just like a tunnel. I called it the Tunnel of Love first, but that didn't go over well with the family. So we had to switch it to Shady Lane.
nice try.
Oh, lad. We're trying to keep this a family show.
So, I bet you have a lot of customers, you know, in the southern and western portions of the Midwest, with all the junipers, cedars taking over everywhere. You know, they're a native plant, but nobody has burned for the last 200 or 300 years, and they're trying to take over the planet. But you can't get them to catch fire unless you get in there with some equipment and get some sunlight on the ground first, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say particularly from the Midwest north, and then we're pushing west now, where the cedars have taken over the grasslands and stuff. And those guys, most of those guys that, want our stuff, they'll use the disc mulcher, because they just want to get it on the ground as fast as you can.
Right.
You can either go down and saw it right at the ground level. It's almost like a hot saw, like you guys would, like fellow bunchers. It's just like a hot saw. Go in there and cut it off at the ground, lay it down, drive over it twice. It just blows it up. They don't care about 3-foot long tree limbs laying out in the grass. They don't care, because eventually that stuff will go away. Or if they do burn after a year of drying, a lot of that stuff will burn up. The smaller stuff will all burn up anyway. So yeah, there's a lot of guys that are using the disc for that. I mean, again, back in my world, guys in the outdoor industry, like up in Iowa and stuff, like Lee Lakoski and Mark Jury and Lindsay's, those guys all use the disc mulcher just to go up, like in their hillsides and stuff like that, to thin those cedars out to create better, and then go in and put switchgrass or something like that in there for better bedding areas and stuff for deer, just to thin them out. They don't want them all gone, but they can do it really quick. You can get in and, you can take out an acre of cedars in a heartbeat. So, yeah, I mean, it's all fun stuff, right?
It is.
Dudley, why don't you, we should have done this at the beginning. I overlooked it, but why don't we ask him do some rapid fires with that?
Okay. Well,
we got rapid fire brought to you by Laney. What are you doing over there, Laney?
I'm working on my hunting lease. I'm working on it. I'm actually marking stuff where I want to use Toxie's brush cutter to improve my place.
Speaking
Can I
of
borrow that
Onyx,
thing?
that's exactly how I got my buddy to go over there. I walked these lines and these trails with Onyx, and I just sent it to him.
Yeah, no.
And he just followed it.
You knew I was on Onyx. You asked that on purpose, didn't you?
All right, so Nutrien is, our friends at Nutrien Act are bringing the rapid fire by Dudley Phelps. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was kind of hoping Greg would participate in this as well because I have not had an opportunity to rapid fire with you.
All right, double rapid fire.
I'm kind of slow, Dudley, so I don't know how rapid's gonna work,
Okay,
but I'll
well,
try.
All right, so
We don't have a buzzer to beep in on.
we'll Ed, you answer first, and then Greg, you answer next. Okay.
All right.
So, are y'all ready?
Yeah,
All right.
I hope.
Saturday morning duck hunt or Sunday afternoon dove hunt?
Dove hunt.
Dove hunt.
Do you actually enjoy yard work such as mowing, or is it a chore that just has to be done?
I enjoy it.
Chore. I
Corn,
cut 5 acres.
cornbread or roll?
Cornbread.
Cornbread.
Hey,
What is your least favorite native tree species?
Pecan.
Is locust a native?
Yep.
Yeah.
I hate them thorns.
yep. We can't tell them what we call
What
them
is
trees.
your favorite month of the year to hunt?
December.
January.
Do you like to put mayo, chow chow, relish, or ketchup on your peas? Yes or no?
Wow.
Or just
No.
plain?
Mayo/relish.
What is the furthest distance you've driven a piece of equipment on a public road?
2 miles.
I bet Greg's got like
Yeah.
Probably 30.
In your adult life, have you ever drank the juice from the bottom of a bowl or licked a plate when nobody's looking?
You bet.
I've done it when they were looking.
yeah.
Do you ever salt and pepper your food before tasting it?
Yes.
Yeah. Pepper especially.
Okay, what is more fun to you to run, a drum mulcher or a heavy-duty brush cutter? Pure fun.
Drum.
I'm going to have to say brush cutter because I've never had the opportunity to run a
All right.
hint drum
Greg,
cutter.
call me.
But you'd love to, wouldn't you?
He
You'd
knows
love
I
to.
said hint. Yeah.
And last but not least, what is your record for hornet, wasp, bee, or yellow jacket stings
Oh,
in,
my gosh.
in one day? What is your record?
3 in the armpit.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a bad one.
Right in the
Found in my shirt.
right in the lymph nodes.
Eight bumblebees one day and 42 yellow jackets another day.
Oh my goodness.
Well, not to mention how many honeybees that time. About
It was
18?
it was like 50 or 60 of them.
Yeah, he's first team All American at getting stoned.
Wow.
If I could throw this in there, right, you do it with the
So this was before the enclosed cab.
Yes,
Is that
yes,
correct? So
that's
Ed
correct.
probably doesn't have that
I
problem.
was on the Dozier one day, and Tom works with us. He was on the track with this cab, and I was on a 5N high track Dozier, no cab, and I was cutting where behind loggers, we were cleaning up behind them for a guy's high fence, and there was this nice hardwood tree lay on the ground. I'm like, why'd they leave that nice tree? I'm like, I guess they just overlooked it or whatever. So I backed down the hill, and I was kind of up on it, backing down. And I found out why they left. That thing
Started
had
buzzing.
a honeybee nest in it.
Ugh.
And them jokers got to getting on me, and I put it forward, and I started going back up the hill fast as I could, and I couldn't stand it no more. So I finally got to a spot, and I put it in park, but I didn't even have time to cut it off. But I did put it in park. And I bailed off that Dozier, and I'd run a little bit, and I was tripping and falling, and I was rolling in the dirt. And Tom, bless his heart, he cracks the window open about half an inch, and he says, "You got them all over your back." I was like, "No joke." So the truck's
yeah, but did he
100.
shoot video?
Yeah, my
No,
truck's
listen,
100.
I'll listen.
Yeah.
My truck's 100 yards up the hill. So I get up, I run, I fall, I reel, I tore my watch off, I lost it. I tore my cap up. Finally get to the truck. I dive in the truck, and I had like 4 or 5 got in there with me. So I get them killed, and then I'm like having a heart attack. My heart's beating so fast, and I can't hardly breathe. Long story short, I get calmed down, and I'm like, the Dozier's running. I got to get back to the Dozier. So I went to doing that old country boy thinking.
Yes, sir.
I found a pair of heavy white mule gloves I had in the truck, and I had a jacket in the back seat, and I had a paper bag. So I put them heavy gloves on, put that jacket up, buttoned everything tight around the gloves, and I took that paper bag and I pinched one little hole in it and I put it over my head. And I stuffed it down in the jacket. And I walked down there, I looked like a mummy walking down the hill, and I'm looking through that little hole, you know. And I got up there and they were literally, you know, they come to the vibration.
Mm-hmm.
The Dozier was covered, the seat, everything. So I walked right up there and I took my gloves and I raked them all out of the seat. Got on the Dozier, pulled it up the hill, cut it off, walked back over to the truck. In a few minutes, they were all gone.
So you didn't get stung again?
No.
With your
couldn't get to me.
beekeeper? Your beekeeper
Luckily,
suit.
one didn't come through that
And
little
that
hole.
hole, yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't have any like bad. That's when you got stuck like 50 times.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. I've never had a reaction other than the day them 8 bumblebees got me. They all got me in the head.
Ooh,
And I looked like a sumo wrestler. I couldn't see. My eyes were swelled shut, and my whole head was swollen. My ears looked like cauliflowers. I mean, but that was the worst swelling I've ever had. But as far as the honeybees, I was just sore, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I do keep since then, I do keep a EpiPen
Yes,
in the
100%,
truck
yep.
because you never know. I've known people all their life been stung and never bothered them. And then it took one sting and they died. If something changes of your body or can change over the years.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what's the worst?
Another reason to stay in a cab.
That's
Exactly.
correct.
It's a great selling point for a cab. For
That
sure.
actually did us in from open cab stuff.
Yeah. I went to talk show. I was like, man,
That's it.
I can't do it no more.
No, I mean,
AC and heat.
So what's the worst? A bumblebee or a hornet or a yellow jacket or
I'd
wasp?
say bumblebee and hornet tied.
Yeah, them black and white hornets.
Yeah. Now, yellow jackets and, you know, and bees, honeybees. Honeybees is probably the less. Then yellow jackets.
Unless
then,
there's 54 of them.
Yeah, and then there's bumblebees and the hornets.
the bumblebees will hunt you down worse than any.
sure
of them.
will.
They got me once on that little old D4 I had for around here, and I actually saw stuff boiling out from under the blade. I was pushing where's an old pile of, like you said, kind of a log landing spot. And I saw them kind of boil up, and I hit reverse. I hit it so fast. Most dozers back faster than they go forward anyway, and I hit reverse and just fast as it'll go straight backwards. And I got maybe 200 yards. I could see some swirling around. I got maybe 200 yards away from it and kind of slowed back down. Whew. Got away from that. That could have been a disaster. And I just saw 2 or 3 of them coming up that same trail. And next thing I know, they kind of make a loop around right over my head, and I shot like a dummy. I reached my hand up and kind of swatted one time, and I knocked my own cap off swatting, and 2 of them, boom, boom, hit me right on top of the head. So, and I was 200 yards from where I
Yeah, they follow that vibration.
Those jerks.
Bumblebees are mean.
They'll get you.
Mitchell, have we got a trivia question for him?
We got a trivia question.
Oh, cool.
All right.
Peanut Patch boiled peanuts. You go to any convenience store there, Ed.
Get you a cup of them. They're
you see these
delicious.
boiled peanuts. They sponsor this trivia question.
Okay.
Ed, have you had a boiled peanut?
Oh, yeah, I love them.
All right.
Okay, so they've migrated
They're
up
your
to
guys.
Yeah. You're a
when
peanut
I
patch
get down
man.
like to Tennessee, I got some friends in there. I've helped them out, and yeah, we sit down by a fire and eat a couple bowls of boiled peanuts.
Well, they sell them in cans. I think that's so awesome because you can open a can and just like they're so fresh. Like
Oh,
you just
yeah.
did it.
Yep.
Love them.
Love them.
Like I said, ate so many I can't keep my socks up. But I give that credit to Jerry
There
Clower.
you go. He's trying to steal Jerry Clower's jokes.
I think he was
again.
referring to boiled okra.
Yeah, it was
He
old
He
okra.
was.
Well, I just modernized.
It is like it is
Bobby,
the-
you've ruined Foxworthy. You've ruined Clower. I mean, how many comedians can you destroy their reputation?
ruined. What are you talking
I
about?
mean, you shouldn't be using their lines because you just can't. It isn't the same.
All right, Mitchell, come on.
Well, before we get trivia question, make sure to leave some reviews. Maybe you have a chance of winning some prizes from us.
That's
What do they
right.
win, Bobby?
Yeah, well, we've got we just changed over. We did the bones last month,
Yep.
so we're getting ready. Right now, we're doing companion teas. When September gets going, Ryan Kirby is sending some, those posters that
Oh yeah.
where you can age deer.
Oh great.
Guys are going to have a chance to win those posters in
Yep.
September. So you need to go ahead and start leaving a review.
And more, go to the Gamekeeper giveaway on the Gamekeeper page and sign up for the Nosler custom rifle giveaway.
That's so cool. What a great rifle. Guys, you really need to look at that.
Not to take away from the trivia question, but
It just sounds like you can win on everything.
I mean,
Yeah, you can. Who won
It's
today?
Christmas 52 weeks out of the year with
Yeah.
Gamekeepers.
Yeah.
So Lloyd Culpepper won this review. It was on the Coondog Cemetery podcast.
hey,
He said, "This was a great podcast. I actually have a dog buried at the Coondog Cemetery back in '97."
oh,
He said,
Sorry
"Keep
for
up
your-
the good work."
Sorry for your loss.
yeah,
Lloyd.
How about that? That was a good one, though.
that was a great one. I enjoyed it.
But trivia question: what is Kansas official state game bird?
Official game bird? Gosh. Pheasant?
Dadgummit.
He killed it.
No way.
Ringneck pheasant.
The ringneck.
I was
pheasant.
going to guess a Jayhawk. Since the Kansas
Hey,
Jayhawks.
How about that?
You know, but
I
I
don't
don't even
think
know what a
that's-
Jayhawk
Hey,
is.
I don't either.
I don't think anything with hawk is in the game bird
No.
species.
I was going to
I
say,
missed the official bird. He said official game bird. So
Yes.
I was thinking official bird.
I was going to say a yellow-breasted sapsucker.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, Greg. What Greg's over here coming up with some off the wall stuff.
Well, you wait a minute. Lightning will strike you, Bobby.
Yeah, talk about off the wall. Good
Careful.
point, Toxie.
Greg, we need to get you your own podcast. I think.
No, I'm good, Bob. I'm good. Thank you though.
He's the
I'm
dirt-
I'm happy. I'm happy just running my little
And he does it.
machines
I've
and
told
stuff.
this before.
Well, you need to sit in with us more often.
You do. As growing up, obviously they never knew life without Greg around, Uncle Greg. With Daniel Neal, when they first got their phones, it would be like, a phone would ring, you see the name and say Dad or Mom or whoever, Lanny or something like that. When Greg's phone called them, it said the man. That's how they felt about Uncle Greg.
Yeah, he really is, and I mean, you're such a good guy. You've been around here a long time.
Well, the
and-
perspective is so
That's
valuable.
that part's true.
Yeah.
yeah.
I like-
Glad- but we talk about so much stuff, and I know we act like we know or whatever. I'm not being negative about that, but the point I'm making is he's out there where the rubber meets the road every day, and it's so valuable because the practical application of the things we talk about may be a little different than us just throwing out theories,
Yeah.
things we've learned, things
You're
we've
right.
heard, so forth. We're just
And
trying to help people
we're-
learn too.
yeah.
But it helps to have that perspective about it's tough sometimes.
He's the full-time gamekeeper.
Yes.
He is, that's for sure. My fondest memory of Greg is one time during turkey season.
I figured it had to be.
Here we go.
Oh, here we
I
go.
had a kidney stone.
Oh, I remember
and
this.
Greg, Toxie was tied up on a turkey, so he couldn't.
Well, I wasn't very close by either. You were at the dummy line, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, Toxic called me and said, Bobby's dying, but I got this bird coming. Can you tell it?
So
I could
Greg,
see him strutting.
Greg ended up taking me to the Meridian Hospital, and I remember in that vehicle, I couldn't get comfortable. I was riding upside down. In
Hey,
the passenger seat.
literally.
It-
I'm like, I can't believe nobody hurts that bad. I'm like, he would turn around on his knees, holding onto the back of the seat, and then he would hang his head over in the back floorboard, and then he'd flip around and he'd be all down in the floorboard, then back up on the seat, and I'm running like 92 miles an hour. I'm like, hang on, brother, I'm getting you there. But not to cut your story off, but I don't know if it's karma or whatever, but I had my first one about 2 months ago and wound up having to have surgery to have it removed. And hey, I know what you were going through.
The pain is real.
Yes,
Oh,
sir. It's bad.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's where I was going with that.
Yes.
I hated you
It's
had to have that
bad.
experience, but whew, they are bad.
I don't want one.
No.
Ed, we've enjoyed talking to you. Is there anything
Yeah.
else we need to touch base on?
No, man, not really. You just, if you want to learn just a little bit more, like I'm probably not the best teacher because I love the learning process, but like we've done a few YouTube series and stuff. One of them, I think I don't remember what I named it, something about, turkey nesting and stuff. I started just doing some projects that a buddy from Florida said, hey, next year when I come up here, maybe you could do this or that to the property, like make it better for me. So he talked me into doing some projects. But yeah, there's a YouTube series on Vail products that, you know, you can see some of that stuff and you can see how the attachments work, and it's a blast. It's a lot of fun.
So guys can go to vailproducts.com and you can see all of them. And there's quite a few videos on there as well. So, Ed, y'all make a great product.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Sure do.
I mean, I would ask everybody, just go look. I mean, if you actually own a skid steer, go straight to Vail. And look at the product.
CTL, man.
Yep.
CTL.
Excuse
Well,
me.
we're not gonna be the biggest name in the business, but we're just in it to make the absolute best that you can make. You know, and if you're looking for something that's cheap and disposable, that's not us.
There you go.
You know, our lane is we're going to build the really heavy duty stuff. They're made for people who want to buy them and keep them a long time. I think Greg can probably attest to that.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to tear that thing up. So
It's heavy. Yeah.
that's our niche.
So the thing I was going to say is look there, but also if you're looking to do something with equipment, just go look and consider, or go visit, or maybe they'll let you test or whatever. There are some nuances to operating one of the skid steers, and sorry, that's all I can think to call them. But you know,
Takes a look at used to it.
yeah, it's not like jumping on a tractor, but nevertheless, I would strongly, if I was starting and didn't already have stuff. We have one, thank goodness, but that might be my first choice just about. So just consider it, and then you got to have one first, and then go. Check out everything Vail does. Just about anything you could need.
That's it, yeah. That's interesting that the way those have kind of worked their way into being maybe the number one choice.
I mean, for wildlife, it is low ground pressure, maneuverable.
Anything else, and Greg, how long? Okay, let's say you're running a big cutter and you want to use the grapple or the tiller or the land plane or all these different things you can use. How long would it take you to unhook and hook up to the next piece of equipment?
Things requiring hydraulic
Right.
plug-ins, 2 minutes.
Okay. What about if?
Okay, non-hydraulic, such as a bucket or
Right.
something like a bucket or a set of pellet forks, like 15 seconds.
Yeah. You don't even have to get out.
You don't even have to get out of the machine. For
Yeah,
that.
it is important. These are
people-
hydraulic, not PTO driven, obviously. So
Yeah. But if it's not hydraulic during the day, I mean, you don't even have to get out of the cab.
No.
that's right.
You just go over there, you hit a button, it releases, and then you go over here and you pick it up and you hit the
Roll
button,
back with it.
locks it back in, and you're right off off to the races.
I've actually gone home before because I didn't want to fool with swapping out an implement on the back of the tractor.
It's not that easy
"God,
on a
I'm too
tractor."
tired.
That can
Yeah,
be
so I
aggravating.
I don't want to do
yeah.
this by myself.
Yeah, by yourself too. It's tough.
If you have a quick attach, detach, whatever on the tractor, if you ever use one, this is like that except on steroids. That much easier. It's amazing how you have all this equipment you usually just go pick up. And you would have to get out and hook up the hydraulic lines, but that's it.
Lanny, I've enjoyed this.
I have too. I love talking about equipment.
Yeah.
Of course, gamekeeping.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do.
I'd like to. Can you fit in one of those things? You're so tall and lanky.
Yeah, you
Will
can
you-
squeeze him in there.
Can you
I don't
get
know. I
in?
hope to find out.
Diesel therapy.
Yeah, he is. All right, Ed. We've enjoyed having you. Thank you so much. We appreciate what you do.
it. Yeah, we could talk. Modifying and manipulating land forever. So.
No doubt about it. It's one of our
okay.
favorite subjects.
But it is getting close to lunch around
Moles,
here.
Mossy Oak
Just pass
Land
it.
Enhancement Services. That's
Chicken
right.
time.
Yeah. All right, guys. We've enjoyed this. Thank you, Ed, Greg. Thank you for coming
Thank
up.
you.
We really appreciate it. Why don't you say goodbye, Dudley?
Goodbye, Dudley.
Get us out of here, Mitchell.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Gamekeeper Podcast, and be sure to tune in again. Subscribe to Gamekeeper Farming for Wildlife magazine, and don't miss the Mossy Oak Properties Fistful of Dirt podcast with my good buddy, Ronnie Cuz Strickland.